What's up, everybody? It's your boy D Mac, man. So let's talk. I wanted to come on and do this the other day, but it kind of slipped my mind. So my apologies to the family. But I wanted to give a big condolences to the family of Dwayne Haskins. Um, it Anybody who knows sports and football know that Dwayne Haskins was an up and coming quarterback. You know, he played in Washington at first, and he kind of struggled in Washington, which any quarterback would struggle in Washington. I talk about them because that's my team. That's always been my team, always will be, but I'm always honest about my team. And one thing about my team, one of our biggest Achilles heels was that we would never have adequate protection for the quarterback. And so we had a lot of quarterbacks to get hurt in Washington. RG3 was one of them. Jason Campbell was one of them. And definitely Dwayne Haskins had his struggles in Washington as quarterback, but he's definitely a good quarterback. He had some off the field issues going on, but that's typical with a lot of these young athletes who are coming up in the system. I'm not excusing or condoning any bad behavior, but I'm just saying you give a young man a whole lot of money and some liberties in another city. It's like a rush, and they have to go through those learning phases in order to get some understanding of how the system works and how they're supposed to move and operate within the system. And it's just like kind of like when they go to college, you're typically going away from home a lot of the times, going into an atmosphere that you're not familiar with, and you are just kind of figuring your way out. But by say middle of sophomore or your junior year, you get it. You get the hang of everything, and then you're just comfortable and you're in your place and doing your thing. And same thing going into these different leagues, different sporting organizations. You come in and you have these experiences, you have these new freedoms, and you're going to get caught up in some of those things that you weren't able to do before you had this opportunity put before you. So um, that's just a little background on Dwayne Haskins. But he was a young man. He was getting a new start in Pittsburgh, and people were excited about it. He was looking kind of good in a few of those games, and things were starting to turn around for him seemingly. And then he come to lose his life, and he lost his life in a way that you know um, a lot of people are not familiar with, because getting hit by a vehicle is something that we hear about a lot of on the media sites and stuff like that, but we don't really think about it unless it's something that hit home with us, and unless it's something that we've experienced in our life. And so I can I can see this. I can relate to this because I was hit by a car before. And I ain't talking about as a kid, I'm talking about as an adult. As an adult who knows to look both ways and who knows all of the safety precautions to take as you cross the street. And yet, and still, I was struck by a vehicle, and I spent quite a few days in the hospital with some broken ribs and a punctured lung. And so I know how these types of things can happen. And, just to think about him crossing the highway at 6 o'clock in the morning, they say it was around 6:30 in the morning when he was out on the highway. Most people speculate that he was out jogging because he was there for a workout. They were doing a quarterback workout there. And so people just speculate that he was out jogging and happened to, I don't know. I don't know. Maybe stepped out in the road and the driver didn't see him because it was a large truck, A dump truck is a pretty large truck, and there's certain areas that are blind to the driver of such a large truck. And so who knows? We speculate at this point at what happened, but the end result was that Dwayne Haskins lost his life. And, he just started to live life. What's going on, bro? Man, you said he crossed the interstate and got hit by a dump truck. Yeah, man, that's sad, man. And like I was about to say, it's just he was such a young kid, 24 years old, man. I have kids older than 24 years old. And to imagine my child starting life, really, really getting a second chance and really starting to understand the mistakes that he was making and trying to redeem himself for that, and then to have his life taken so suddenly, man, in the way that it was. My heart just goes out to the family, man. And I hope we hear it all the time whenever something like this goes down, and everybody talks about a wake up call for other people. But my thing is this, man, it's only going to be a wake up call to somebody who's really who has a value on life, because you look at a lot of people out here, they don't have a value on life. um Quite a few people are in the streets, and they've been conditioned to think that their life doesn't have any value. And we have also people who came up in situations to where all they saw was negativity their whole life, and so all they see is no value in themselves, and they don't feel any self-worth. And so we have to be cognizant of these things when we out here, man, because we spend a lot of times harping on things that really, really aren't important in life, man. And we deprive ourselves of living life to the fullest because we concentrate so much on all of these other things. You say, that's so sad. Life is so fragile. Hope his family will get comfort to cope. Yeah, man. And the comfort would be in this, to me, would be the comfort is that he was on the road to redemption, man, whenever he lost his life. Um, like I said, the guy was still young, 24 years old. You can't blame him for a lot, depending on what type of teaching and what type of environment he came up in. Whenever you get freedom, man, we've all had that experience in life whenever we first got out on our own for real, and couldn't nobody tell us what to do. We was in charge of what we do and what to come on, man. We all got beside ourselves a little bit. We all went out there and we just overdid it at first, and then we kind of settled in to our life, uh being changed like that and being on our own. And then we started making the decisions that needed to be made concerning how we was living and stuff. But to be that young, man, with a lot of money, man, you're gonna go out here and you're gonna do a lot of dumb things, trying to still hang with your old partners that you used to hang with back in the day to prove that you ain't forgot about the hood and all of those things that get you in trouble, man. He went and did those things, and he was starting to redeem himself from that. He was starting to learn and starting to mature and understand what the system was that he was going into. And then it was just cut short like that. um and a lot of times people are going to look at, and they don't want to say it in times like these, but the loss of capital, the loss of money, the loss of opportunity to change the lives of people in his family and stuff like that, because that's what most of the players go in thinking, like, they have that pressure on them most of the times because they come from impoverished situations. And so everybody in the family is counting on them to make it so that they can create opportunities for the family to come up. And this is just that unspoken truth that comes with, I say, about 98, 99% of black athletes. And so when they're coming in with that mindset of I gotta help everybody and everybody is depending on me and counting on me to eat, um, then when that's taken away, man, the pressure is even that much more intense because you're feeling like you're letting down everybody. It's not just you that failed and you let yourself down. Everybody that was depending on you to be their way out now don't have that way out anymore. And that's a very heavy burden to carry. But for him to lose his life and, that option is gone or that opportunity is gone for the family, that's another thing that a lot of, like I said, and don't nobody want to talk about it because it seems trivial and it seems um, materialistic, but it's one of the biggest issues at hand, and it definitely is that elephant in the room. Is that now that opportunity for lives to be changed is gone, and it's a sad thing, man. This brother had a lot to learn. He had a lot to offer. He had a story to tell, and he could have been one of those mentors to the dudes that's coming in that's having issues. There were so many different um, ways that this could have went for him, but God saw fit for him to come home, man. So we can speculate and we can question and we can say all the what ifs we want to. But the bottom line is he was here for the time that he was. He got to experience what part of life he got to experience. And it was time for him to go home. So it was just time for him to go home, man. But like I said, rest in peace to the brother. There's so many more athletes out here who we really don't hear about that much that have lost their lives in a crazy way. I was watching another podcast, a pretty popular podcast called I Am Athlete, and Brandon Marshall and Chad Johnson was talking about a friend that they had that they shared and him losing his, no, it was uh Pac-Man Jones was talking about it. Him and Brandon Marshall was talking about a friend that they had that they lost in a and it was like him and his girl was arguing and he jumped on the vehicle and she pulled off and he flew off the vehicle and died from his injury. It's just, there's crazy things like that that happen to athletes, man, and it gets overshadowed by other things. But these are regular people, man, and they go through regular things, man. We put high we as society are wrong for putting these people in the positions that we put them in as heroes, and we automatically think because they have attention and they're in the limelight that they automatically have to be a role model. Now, yeah, there's a moral responsibility that comes with having certain influence and certain power, but everybody going to operate in that, or is everybody going to exercise that? No, some people are going to abuse the power. Some people are going to underuse the power that they have, and there's all different scenarios based on the type of person that they are, man. But I say all that just to say, man, that life is so short, and we tend to get bogged down with things that in the long run are not going to be a determinant factor in the quality of our life. And we take on different burdens in our life that are unnecessary, that causes a whole lot of unnecessary stress in our life. And we do that to ourselves oftentimes because we do not have discernment on how to deal with certain situations, how to leave certain stuff alone, and how to stay out of the middle of people conversations. Because oftentimes, when you interact with others and it comes to a place of debate between two people and they have you in the middle, somebody is going to look to you to co-sign what they say. And if you don't co-sign what they saying, you say you staying neutral, and then they gonna have to stand on their own. And a lot of times when you get in these type of situations, man, you feel like you have an obligation to either back up something, but it depends if you agree with the point, or if you see both people's point, then you can point that out and stand on that. But a lot of people are like, you just wishy washy. No, it's just that I can see from both perspectives. Both of you have a point, and everybody wants, whenever they're engaged in those type of arguments, they want to be right, and that in order for them to be right, that means the other person is wrong. So they'll never see each other as being both right. And that's why they're looking for somebody to co-sign so you can break the stalemate. But when you don't break the stalemate and you leave it at both of you can be right in your own perspective, then people don't want to accept that, because they're looking to be the winner of an argument instead of actually coming to a solution of it. So, man, we got to get past that. That is wasting us. It's wasting time. It's wasting energy. It's wasting opportunities to build and to grow and to link and to network with each other. Yeah, we're gonna have disagreements, but I'm not talking about just having a disagreement. I'm talking about those who feel the need to just harp on stuff. You know, one thing I was taught growing up by my father was that when a man speaks, he only speaks once and he stands on it. You ain't gonna sit there. I'm not gonna sit there and keep on repeating the same thing over and over. I'm going to let you know what my position is on this, and that's gonna stand. At that point, you can come and you can try to change my view on it. You can try to give me your reasoning why you think I'm wrong. But if I don't see the logic in it, or if I go back and check the information, and the information that you give me is not sufficient for me to change my view, then I'm going to stand on what I say and what I believe, regardless. And so for somebody to try to change that, a lot of times you're wasting your time. If you don't have the information readily available right in that moment, and I have to go look it up for myself, and like I said, if I don't find it sufficient to change my view, then it is what it is. But I'm not going to waste a whole lot of time arguing back and forth about one same point, because that's just my stand on it. And we do that so much in our lives, man. We waste so much breath, we waste so much emotional energy, just beating a dead horse. And we'll do it throughout different relationships over and over again, beating the same dead horse. But, people are only going to do what you allow them to do in your life. So at some point, you're going to have to take accountability and responsibility for what is taking place in your life that's stopping you from living in the fullness of life. And that's something that I'm beginning to understand the older I get, is these confrontations of having with people. I have absolutely nothing to prove. So there's no need for me to get out of character with people. There's no need for me to try to bolster my ego and bolster my bravado and all of the things that guys feel like they have to do to make themselves seem superior to others. I don't have to do any of that. I don't have anything to prove to anybody. Um, the example that I want to lead and the example that I want to set is an example of resolve. Is an example of humility. It's an example of strength by understanding and knowledge and application to life. This is the end result of what I want to be seen as and what I want people to know me for. That brother is always looking for a solution. He's always looking for an answer. He's always looking for the truth in something. And if that's what people think of me, man, then my mission is accomplished because I'm always in the vein of trying to help. Um, but yeah, Dwayne Haskins, man, there's so much that could be said, man, and there's someone who's made some disparaging statements about Dwayne Haskins and was speaking about his off-field issues and stuff and criticizing the brother for the decisions that he was making and said that this led up to his death, man. For that gentleman, I would like to say this. When you speak on somebody else's life and you pointing that finger, you got three fingers pointing back at you, dude. So we do understand that the brother made mistakes. Was he the first and the last to ever make mistakes in the NFL as a kid? Was he the first or the last to ever make mistakes in sports, period, as a kid? Was he the first or the last to come from a certain environment and get caught up in the transition from that environment into a professional environment? No, he's not. There's going to be so many more stories like his. There's going to be so many more to fall to the circumstances and situations and not get an opportunity to really do what they were brought into the league to do, like a Johnny Manziel and like a Steve Young and like so many more who was set to be the next great thing. You know, I appreciate I appreciate all the people who exercise understanding. I appreciate all of the people who look at it with an open mind and an open view and an open heart. I appreciate the people who are sensitive to the family and anybody who jumps on and says some crazy negative things just for shock value. Um, just know that that energy you put out is definitely going to come back to you at some point because everything you speak is going to go out and accomplish all of the bad intent that you send it out for, and it's going to return back to you. So when it comes back to you, just be ready for what's coming. That's the only warning. That's the only cautionary tale that I have for people who like to speak negative of the dead, man. Um, just respect the man's life, respect what he was trying to do, respect the battles that he was fighting through, the victories and the failures that made him the young man that he was. And let's celebrate this man. Let's celebrate his short life and try to comfort the family. You know, that's the biggest thing. That's the right thing for us to do. Um, Yeah, that's all I really got on that, man. I didn't really want to spend a whole lot of time talking about, trivial things and get off of the main focus of what this is really about. And it's about Dwayne Haskins and it's about the short life that he had. And we never know when our time is up. And we think that we have all the time in the world, especially when we're in our 20s and even early 30s and stuff like that. We think we have all the time in the world to get things accomplished. And so we will put things on the back burner and we will say, I'll get to it. And before we look up, it's already been 5 years, 10 years down the road. And we still have things and regrets that we haven't accomplished that we know we should have in our lives. And so I just want people to just take opportunity to look throughout your life, man, and see if there's some things that you've avoided correcting that you know you need to correct that have been pointed out to you numerous times and you even acknowledge yourself, but you still don't want to deal with it because it's going to be something too hard or you feel it's going to be something too hard for you to get over. But we gotta meet those things head on, man, so that we can live a good quality life. Because as long as we leave these things festering in our mind, festering in our heart, then they're going to continue to be a hindrance to us really enjoying life as full as we can because we're always anticipating the bad. So this is your boy D Mac, man. I appreciate y'all for coming on. I appreciate my brother for coming on. I appreciate you, Markrina, for coming in and giving your feedback. Um, it's a hard life that we live sometimes, but that's determined on how we look at it and how we move throughout our lives. The decisions that we make, the choices that we make in life is going to determine the quality of our life. So let's get back to um, healthy heart, healthy mind, healthy emotions, healthy spirit, keeping all of these things intact so that we can be able to walk in the fullness of life and enjoy the fullness of life because of the good and wise decisions and choices that we make in life. And even in the hard times, whenever we make poor decisions, and that we can learn from those things and that we can grow stronger and grow wiser in those mistakes that we've made and in those hardships and those struggles that we've made it through countless times. And we all know I can count on on both hands how many times I've been in situations to where I didn't see the end. I didn't see no out. There's many times where I was in situations where I didn't see no out, where I didn't see me coming out of this situation okay, when I thought it was the end for me, when I thought it was my last chance and I was gone. I can count on both hands how many times I've been in those situations and I've come out on the other side okay. I had some dings and some bruises and I was a bit worse for wear, but I came out okay and I recovered okay every single time. Every single time I fell, I bounced back. And so that encourages me even now whenever I go through hardships, I look back on all of the times that I've failed and that I've gotten up before. And that's what keeps me going. That's what keeps me encouraged. You said he made small mistakes, nothing major. Besides, he was 24. He ain't catch no cases. No, man, he ain't catch no real cases, just minor stuff, and they're always gonna paint that certain image on people, man. But it wasn't nothing major. Like I said, he was coming back from a lot of that stuff, and he was maturing. He was getting older. He was starting to understand what his role was, things like that. And he was kind of fitting in Pittsburgh, man. So you know, it's yeah, it's just a sad thing, man. And we just have to appreciate life for what it is. Appreciate our lives, make the best of the life that we have, man. Quit depriving ourselves of having a good time and smiling in the midst of the chaos. You can smile in the midst of the chaos and carnage that's going on. Find opportunities, man, to enjoy the life that we have. We worked hard. We claim that we came up out of the mud. We scratched and we did all of this fighting for a good life for what? To not enjoy it? We did all of this sacrificing and all of the things that we preach about all day long. For what reason? So that we can have a good quality of life, so that we can enjoy our lives when we get in our older age and we can sit back and we can really see the fruits of our labors and really just enjoy life. This is what we did all of this work all of these years for, right? That's what we claim, right? We out here working the hours that we spend working with the youth, the hours that we spend uh, working with this group or this program or this organization to help the community, the hours that we spend with our families, and the hours that we spend with people who are not even in our family, just people that are connected to us indirectly. All of this, all of this stuff we doing is for what? So that we can have a better quality family, so that we can have a better quality neighborhood, so that we can have a better quality of life, so that we can live out our days and have some fun, so that we can have those barbecues in the backyard and have our uncles out there doing them old out of date dance moves and all of those good times, man, that we remember coming up having. This is why we do the work that we do. This is why we get on here and we talk the talk that we talk like that. Yeah, this is why we do these things because we're seeking a better life. We're seeking a better quality of life, not just for ourselves, but for our families, for our children, and for everybody else that is around us. No, that's what all of this is about. That's what we claim. This is what we always declare. This is always the fuel and the motivation behind our passion and all of the things that we say and we do on these sites and in the public eye. So there it is, man. Enjoy this life that we work so hard for. Is it perfect? Is it like we thought it was gonna be? Nobody's life is like they planned it to be. You show me one person whose life has went exactly to plan. You know, they may have gotten to their main objective and their goal in a roundabout way, but it was never a straight path with no problems and no issues and no monkey wrenches thrown into the plan. So I'm not saying that this life is or this the life that we have or the society that we live in is the greatest place and it's a utopia and we should treat it accordingly. That's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is the life that we do have and the society that we have created, enjoy what we can within that society. Because if you spend all of your time concerned about changing the things that are wrong and you never get an opportunity to enjoy the things that are right, then you're just going to have one side of the story and there's no balance in that. You know, there's no balance in your view, there's no balance in your perspective because all of your focus is just on all of the negative things. And so, you know, enjoy life, man, because when it's taken from you, or when your time is called up, you gotta go, and whatever regrets you have are just gonna be left, and that's it, man. So take the opportunity to hash out all of those things that you do have regrets about, all of those things that you do keep in the back of your mind that do come up from time to time to still bother you because they're unresolved. Work on taking care of those things, man, so that you can have a clear conscience and that you can have just a clear thinking process, and you'll be able to see things a lot better, and you'll be able to enjoy life a lot better because you don't have these things dangling around in your life and coming back to haunt you and stuff. So I'm about to get out of here, man. This is your boy D Mac. I appreciate you once again for coming in and giving your feedback. I appreciate everybody for all of the support. That's one big thing that we take for granted sometimes is the support because it takes people taking time out of their day to come in and just let them know that they hear what you're saying and you hear what they're saying. And you know it's a part of society that is growing weaker and weaker. So it's important for us to maintain a certain level of communication like this so that it won't fall totally to the wayside, because we see that most of the communication that's getting notice and attention on here is the toxic information and the toxic communication. So we have to make sure that we keep some integrity in the game, and we keep some civility in the game, and just some maturity in the game, so that people will have a reference point. Because if the only reference point they have is the toxic stuff and hollering and talking over each other and not really hearing anything or not really having any solution based conversations, then we're depriving them of an important part of their decision making process. So let's stay strong, man. Let's stay steady and continue to support each other in, bring in provocative thought and a different view and a different perspective that can be respected, although disagreed with. So on that note, this is your boy D Mac, man. I'm about to be out of here. Y'all know what I say. Sticks and stones can break your bones, but the word will always heal you. I'm out.